advise men to also have a list, like create a list of what type of things that you want in a woman, so that you're not going off track, you know, because I think it's easy for a man, like the real Precious said, you women are so attractive that men forget that, dang, she's not even for me. How did I get here? She don't even, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like yes, it's definitely important to ask questions. And yes, the dating phase, the dating stage is for you to get to know them as much as possible.
Date vision, but marry values. We talk a lot, Ina, so I feel like you're going to have a good position on this one. There's also a video. Stay tuned for that.
Vision, but you marry value. And I think when people are in a dating space, right, looking for that one, dating is simply collecting data. My wife always says dating is collecting data. So when you're dating and you're collecting data, people ask questions about the future, about vision. Do you see yourself and what you see and what you want and where you're going? And people can paint with broad strokes these beautiful pictures of vision that people become enamored with and attracted to. But what they miss to ask in that collecting data phase is the value systems that support that vision, because you're not going to go where your vision goes. You're going to go where your value goes. Your value is the structure, the infrastructure that holds up, sustains, or acquiesces or possesses the vision that you have.
All right, Inaz, you got the floor. We'll start with you.
There we go. Sorry, technical issues. I agree for the most part, like 97% of what he's saying. I think people really miss out on understanding what a person's value system is, and not just what they value, but like the hierarchy of it, what the priorities are when it comes to values, the way that they make decisions when it comes to their values, if their values are indeed values or if they're just flexible suggestions. The one thing that I didn't agree with in the video is that he said that people don't really ask those questions. I think people do, and then they plug their ears, or they're not observing. I think people are so fixated with the vision of the future that they're allowing the information that is right there in front of them just fly past them, because you don't necessarily have to ask questions, right? You can just watch somebody and see what their value system is, how they move, and make judgments off of that. And so a lot of people in the dating world right now just aren't paying attention to those things. They're sifting the information based on like confirmation bias. They're pulling out the things that confirm what it is that they're looking for, or what it is that they believe, positive or negative, and are throwing all of the other valuable information away.
I believe in observing people, but I do think you do have to ask those questions so you're sure. Just observing someone is only going to get you but so far. You do have to have those conversations. You do have to vision is great, but how far is the vision going to how far has the vision taken you? How far has it gotten you? But as far as the values, that's important. You talk about being with somebody for a lifetime. The values have to be something that you discuss and that you agree upon, because that unequally yoked is serious. So if you can't agree upon your value system and what you stand firm on and your foundation, and if you feel for any moment that that's off or there's a crack in that, I say don't do it. They could be as fine as they want to be, but at the end of the day, you want someone who has good values. You want someone who comes from a good background. You want someone who comes from a family who has good values. That's going to determine your family line, your lineage, and it's going to help determine that, because you're going to go on that journey by yourselves. But if you come from good fruits, you're going to bear good fruit. So I think the value system, or marrying for values, is very important. I say don't compromise that, don't rush it. And if there's no good values there's no relationship there.
All right. Jane, let's get you in there.
Again, my platform is predominantly man. I'm for the man, so I'm gonna come from the man's perspective, or I'm gonna come from the perspective that I have the most passionate about. And that is like, yeah, I believe that there are no such thing as too many questions. I think you should question them down. I think that when it comes to men, that I love what Mr. Let Go said earlier about not dating women who didn't have a father figure in the home, because that's absolutely true. So I always encourage men to, ask probing questions. What's your relationship like with your father? What type of morals did your mother instill in you? Are your parents still married? Are they still together? What have you not healed from? What have you not forgiven? What types of do you want more kids? Et cetera, et cetera. I think that there's no such thing as too many questions. All the questions like what you like to eat, what's your favorite color, all those are like that's for like a walk in the park type of questions. Like you need to know all the whatever you align with, whatever you see yourself doing, whatever you like to do, you need to ask those types of questions that align with your lifestyle or with what you see yourself with. And I always advise men to also have a list, like create a list of what type of things that you want in a woman, so that you're not going off track, because I think it's easy for a man, like the real Precious said, women are so attractive that men forget that, dang, she's not even for me. How did I get here? She don't even, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, yes, it's definitely important to ask questions. And yes, the dating phase, the dating stage is for you to get to know them as much as possible.
And just for the record, that's what my card game helps men and women do. Vet the other person instead of just looking at how pretty and fine they are. And my card game is deeper discussions. Quick plug.
Well, that's what's up, because I'm coming out with a book, questions that men should ask women when dating. So I'll get your card game, you get my book.
That's what's up.
All right, Sugar Curls.
Okay, so I was thinking about this in a couple of different ways. I think it depends on how we define vision. So if a person, we're using in the noun sense, and we're talking about vision, it's just simply the ability to be able to think about something in the future, plan for something, have wisdom. There's nothing wrong with meeting someone, they have a vision of what they're going to do in the future. But if he's using it more so in the action of just the imagination, like a person is dating someone else and they're imagining them to be someone else, and they have all these great qualities and they're going to have this great life, then okay, there may be some caution in that area because that's not realistic. With regard to marrying values, a person's values is going to be their belief system, what drives them, what motivates them. So that is important to know while dating, and especially if you're having marriage in view, because then you're looking to spend the rest of your life with someone. And you want to make sure that person, man or woman, understands what their focus is when they make certain actions or say certain things, what drives them, what triggers them. When I say something to you and you reply back, what is your belief system that brought you to that point? So unfortunately, many people do date with an imaginary view, but understanding what our value is first before we get into a relationship is going to be pertinent, because we can't then divulge into the other person's core values if we don't understand what our core values are. So the way he explained it was a little different, but I think I get the gist of what he's saying.
Nice. All right. Finish us out with the feminine perspective, Lady Di.
I was going to go kind of like what Sugar Crow said at the end, that I like this topic because the problem today is people are not dating for neither. They don't even have a vision for themselves. They have trends and they follow that. And then they wonder why their relationships are not working. They wonder why they can't get married. And if they get married, they get a divorce because your values, your vision for it is not there. You know, so I believe in to date for vision and values and to marry for vision and values, because you got to have both. So if you're a lady, I'm gonna speak for ladies, you have to understand the man's vision that you're trying to be with. You know, you got to make sure that you align with that, right? And then he's gonna back it up with his values. You got to make sure that you're okay with those things. you know, because in order for you to be a wife, you got to allow this man to be your husband and lead the family in the right direction.